Alright, this is what's going to be the video review for the Warbotron WB01-F X-Ray, this set of weapons and the little shockwave that Warbotron can hold when all combined. But it does require some assembly. This one comes in just a plain brown package like this. And for those who have been asking, yes, we do have Fierce Attack here. We will be getting a review of him up soonish as well. So yeah, this is a model kit. You get it comes with a little screwdriver and some screws and a piece. We'll figure out where all that goes. Another little bag of screws. Another little bag of slightly larger screws. What appears to be a set of nunchucks here, some knives, some katanas. And I think all of this combines, and all these small weapons combined in one large gun. Is what it looks like from the instructions. So you get a couple of trays that will go into the weapons. And then a couple of trays here that will form the small little X-ray shockwave figure, as well as the instruction manual. Now, I am going to I'm going to try to do a on-screen build for this. You can see once you clip all the pieces off of here, the swords, everything all combines into one large gun. You take the knives, store in the gun barrel, and then you snap that together and you can pull the knives out. These two knives in their sheaths, these two side pieces, the swords go in them, and then the two knives in their sheaths attached to the main body of the gun, the two large swords in their sheaths attached to either side of the gun, the nunchucks go up and around the top, and then these two like billy club type looking things attach to form the barrel, and then the whole gun is assembled. And you can break that apart into weapons for the individual robots. So yeah, we're going to build this. Like I said, I'm going to attempt to shoot some stop-motion footage, time-lapse. I guess time-lapse footage is the word I'm looking for, of me building these things. So maybe you'll get to see that. I don't know how well that footage is going to work. I've tried it before with a Lego build, and it came out a little too fast. So it could end up working great. It could end up being a giant pain in my butt. I'll find out in about 2 hours. You'll find out, I guess, in just a second. So this is either going to transition to a cut of me building these things, or this is going to transition to a cut of me talking about the finished product, depending on how the stop motion or time-lapse footage works out. All right, I'm pausing for a moment here because you can see I've got this gun together. I haven't trimmed up some of the sprue marks. I'll do that later. I just want to get it together. But you'll notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. This doesn't hold together by itself. There's 5 places for screws here. Now, I've got a bag of 5 screws here, which are smallish. A bag of 5 screws here, which are bigger. It looks like these are the ones that are intended to go into the gun. And we also have, of course, this screw right here, this bag of screws right here, which is a whole bunch of them. I feel like this may be the bag for X-ray, and these are the screws for the gun, but I'm not sure which screws go where. I believe these fat ones are going to go in the gun. We'll try that. But yeah, so we're just taking a time out for the time lapse, just to explain why I'm pausing here. So we're going to try the screws here, and then we'll see how it turns out at the end of the day. All right, we're back. It was the bigger screws that needed to go in here. They fit just fine. These smaller screws, I tried them, and they fell right out. So obviously these were the right screws to use on this. So now that that's done, continuing on. And there, as you can see, is the completed gun. It took a little bit. First off, at this point right here, these two halves right here, according to the instructions, it says B1 and B2 go down here, B14 and B15 go down here, and that's inaccurate. B14 and B15 are the halves that have tabs on them, and B11 and B12 are the sides that have slots on them. At least that's how that was printed on my sheet. I'm assuming it's how it was on my sprue. That's how it will be for everybody's. So it's fairly obvious once you get to this point. Just make sure you have you actually want to combine like B14 and B12 together, and B11 and B15 together, or vice versa. But whatever, you'll figure it out. You just need to have one of the sides with slots versus the side with tabs. Is all that is. But you see, here's the whole gun all put together. He's got a nice giant chain gun for Warbotron to hold. Now, you might have seen me have some trouble getting these to stay in. These actually don't just snap into this centerpiece. These slide in, and then this piece tabs in. These sword sheaths tab in to both the gun and these to hold them in place. But you can see you got a nice, big, solid gun. The chain rattles a little bit. But again, you don't have to put those nunchucks on if you don't wish. But you got a nice, big sniper rifle here. And again, it breaks down in component parts. You can pull the nunchucks off, swing them around. You can pull these pieces off. Not entirely sure what these are supposed to be. I guess these could be like some sort of beat sticks or something. I'm not sure where these go offhand. You can pull these off. These tab on as sword sheaths, and I guess those could tab on to these same peg holes could peg into any of the other robots. These, of course, can peg onto a holster, side hip, or a holster and store the daggers. There's two of those, two of the swords. And then, of course, you've got this gun by itself, which can flip over and be held or peg on. And then each of these bullets in this chamber can come out to become a little dagger as well. So a fairly well-armed set. And you probably want to use this as like a nightstick or a tonfa or something. And you can attach this piece back. Well, plug it in like this, maybe. Have this as part of the gun as well. Or you could even just have this stay on as the rifle if you wanted. So yeah, you've got some options here. Or if you just want to have that be kind of a snub rifle. So entirely up to you. I guess you can do it this way. No, that looks silly that way. Whatever. You can assemble them in many different ways, but basically it's a bunch of extra armament for the individual robots and a giant combined gun for Warbotron himself. So now let's get into like I said, the big fat screws went in here, 5 of them. These are supposed to have 3 each, and this is holding together just fine with 2. I only got 5 of the smaller screw, and there's supposed to be 3 each for these sheaths. So I haven't opened this up. I don't think there's one loose sitting around anywhere, but just keep an eye on that. Like I said, if you have one here and one here, this is holding this together. Honestly, I think this sword is sitting in tighter in the sheath than this one is with all 3 screws. So I guess it's entirely how you screw it together. But yeah, just be aware of that. So yeah, there's the weapons, and now we'll move on to building X-Ray here. All right, so we have built him. There are a few issues. I still don't know where this piece goes. We'll find out. But one, there are extra screws. These 5 big ones in the bag of screws that came in here had 5 of these large screws and a bunch of small ones. You don't use the large screws at all on X-Ray. So these must, and there's like exactly 6 left over of the small screws. So I'm assuming that you're supposed to get a full set. Like what I opened were, like, you get a couple bags of extra screws just in case. But you do have enough, which means I can put a small screw back into the gun, which I will do very quickly, in that one slot that was missing in the sword sheath. And then we'll get to covering this whole thing in full. But yeah, there's a couple places. One, these thigh swivels here. When you push these in, either test fit them and hollow out this a little bit, or put them in straight and don't ever plan on twisting the thighs, because this one is already starting to twist off. These thigh swivels are so tight in there. And I'm sure somebody has already put this together and made mention of that online that I did not read. But yeah, it's a cool little shockwave looking figure, X-ray figure here. With the hose and everything. We'll transform them in just a minute. First off, like I said, let's find that sheath that's missing a screw. It's this one right here. How lucky was that? And we'll just go ahead and screw that in real quick. Ow. And then these will be done. Alright, so now both my sheaths are fixed. Go ahead and put this back on the gun. Oh, nope, I had that right the first time. Yeah, so there's the giant gun weapon set next to X right here. And to transform X-ray, let's see, let's figure this out. So here's the instructions. So we bring his arms down. We flip in his cannon and his hand like this. We rotate him like this, it looks like. Oh, this piece rotates. So there we go. That makes more sense. So we hide. Hold on. Push his head down. There we go. Flip this up. Flip up the target piece. There we go. That makes more sense. Then we fold these down and in. Like this, I guess. Oh, like this. Here we go. Rotate. Well, no, not like that. Okay, they're like that. Okay. So you fold these in and then rotate them out like this. So these form the handle here. Like that. Stick the guns out straight, flip the feet flat, and peg his legs together. Like that. And you got an approximate, what are these for? What are these? I feel like these panels right here should rotate out to peg into the legs to hold them steady. It doesn't show that in the instructions, but these panels right here we put in first. Yep, these are going to flip out and peg into the leg to lock that in place. Nice. You may need something flat like this to get this out. But yeah, so a slightly different transformation for X-ray there, but I guess if you wanted to move his hose, you could plug it in between these two. However you want to do the hose, but yeah, weird use of the translucent yellow instead of translucent purple on these pieces. Maybe some repro parts place will make these in purple, but a pretty decent little build your own transforming shockwave. He's a little bigger than a Legends class, smaller than a Deluxe. But yeah, like I said, not without 100. All the issues. There's a couple places where they don't tell you the right. It's not even the right. They don't tell you the part number you need, and you kind of have to guess based on the picture. It's not hard. The pictures are fairly detailed in here, and you can tell which of the two pieces you're supposed to be working with by looking at the instructions, which is nice. But it would be nice if they left those pieces in place, or they put those piece numbers in there. And again, the tightness, since you build it yourself, if anything's too tight, you can loosen any screws. Like I said, unless you fix these ahead of time, I don't recommend trying to use the thigh swivel here, because like I said, this thigh swivel is starting to twist off, and I didn't even bother with this one because I didn't want to mess with it once I saw that start to twist off. And like I said, there's probably somebody who has already posted that warning. Again, getting these pieces out. You want to have something flat to push these out with. Oh, I guess there's a, okay, if you go in there, you can kind of get in there. This piece actually has a little divot you can flip it out with. So yeah, again, the eye becomes unpainted, so you're going to want to paint his eye if you want him to have the stereotypical yellow eye. Yeah, he's got a ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders with the swivels, swivel elbows. He's got a bicep swivel there. Again, depending on how tight you make this, you can loosen that screw and have it be not quite as tight. I think, speaking of which, I don't know how to do that right now. Just loosen the screw just a little bit, and you can get that. Now it's not quite so hard to move. He's got a waist swivel, hip. Does have a thigh swivel if you're brave enough to use it, and then hinge knee, and then he does the feet are on hinges, but mostly for transformation. So yeah, not a bad little kit to get your own buildable shockwave and weapon combining rifle for Warbotron, which we'll get into when we do the whole we'll cover the whole combined Warbotron review. I'll show these off in weapon mode combined with you know, being held by the giant combiner. So yeah, but there's the X-ray kit. Hopefully that footage all worked out. And but yeah, that's a cool little kit. I like building the I like building everything. This is a nice size little shockwave. I just wish those thigh swivels were a little bit weren't as tight out of the box. So again, keep an eye on that when you're building it. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward build.